I wanted to talk to you this afternoon about difficult conversations. How many times have you been in a meeting, a social engagement, and the issues raised or the conversation has turned to something that you just don't agree with? Now, what you've got to understand is that in the context of the topic being discussed, the person on the other side that's advocating a very strong stance is clearly trying to persuade or dictate their way of thinking to the audience involved, which includes you. So one way of dealing with that is to remain silent, and maybe in the circumstances that's the most effective thing to do. No one at once a Christmas party broken up by you taking an opposite position, but when you think about it, it's pretty reasonable and very fair that you would, because from the protagonist's point of view, or the person that's making the case or being semi-controversial, they're pushing the boundary there. And in light of that, you're entitled to go back and express just as a robust a view. Now, unfortunately, because they've seized the dynamic in the conversation, it makes it difficult for you to come back and counter the proposition, particularly in a social environment, because you're seen as aggressive, which is ridiculous, because all you're doing is expressing an equally firm, solid and hopefully considered view. The person who's advocated the view initially will, of course, invariably try and deride you and say, I don't think you should take that aggressive tone with me, or I don't like your approach, or I think what you're saying is ill-considered. Now, they in themselves are aggressive patterns of communication. What I'm trying to say is, in this instance, pick your battles, but when you're sitting there, whether it be in a social context or a business environment, work out whether you need to recalibrate the way in which the conversation is progressing. Now, it may well be that you want to lull that person into a false sense of security and think that they have the upper hand all the time, albeit at the same time surreptitiously working behind the scenes to advance your agenda. And that's particularly the case in business negotiations sometimes. It's a tricky situation, but what I would encourage you to do is, in instances where you feel uncomfortable or the issue has created an element of uncomfortableness, you should never hesitate to back yourself, to offer your counter view and be direct in that. Just make sure it's well considered, well thought out, and do not get emotional. They're keys. It's unfair, or everyone has a right to their own view, including the protagonist. But really, there are different ways of making points. Take the higher road in any potential conflict situation. Outthink, out-engage, out-strategize, and you'll come out a winner. But what I'm saying is, don't sit there if things are really on the line and fail to stand up for what you believe in, or your best interests, or the company's best interests, whatever the case, or your family's best interests, whatever the case may be, because the other person is being exceptionally assertive. Listen, once again, we're approaching 5 minutes, and true to my word, I've got to finish up here. As I said, you've got this, so go get it. I look forward to our next engagement. Be good. Bye.